Alrighty guys, next we are going to talk about 3 really quick points of the Vietnam War. We're going to talk about the Vietnam War roots, so a quick little history of Vietnam right before the war. Then we will talk about the U.S. involvement and then the protests in the United States. Real quick, at the end of this video, in the comments there's going to be a link to a History Channel video on the Tet Offensive, which is one of the biggest military campaigns in Vietnam. I want you to watch that and take a little quiz that I got for you on that for bonus points, okay? So first, we're going to talk about the Vietnam War roots. Remember that after this video, we should know why America got into this war in the first place, and then we should know the backlash and the public perception here in America. Okay, so during World War II, Japan invaded Vietnam, which was under French rule. And then political leader Ho Chi Minh formed the Viet Minh, which was inspired by Chinese and Soviet communism. And in this war, in the entire world, over 3 million people were killed, which included 58,000 Americans. So to get to the point of U.S. involvement, a treaty in July 1954 at the Geneva Convention Conference, they split the Vietnam at the 17th parallel to form North and South Vietnam. The Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union was at its peak at this time, and so intensity was high worldwide. And by 1955, President Dwight D. Eisenhower had pledged firm support of South Vietnam. So American military and CIA actually provided South Vietnam with equipment, and it was used to capture Viet Minh sympathizers, which were called Viet Cong. And actually, something that you can research, and I'll have links to on the website, is a lot of them were actually brutally tortured and executed. And another reason why America got involved was the domino theory. Basically, what the domino theory is that, you know, the Cold War, America was against the Soviet Union, the communist Soviet Union, and Vietnam was trying to become a communist state also, just like China and Soviet Union. So America, in its big Cold War with Soviet Union, did not want it to spread. And the domino theory suggests that with one Southeast Asian country becoming communist, it would be like dominoes, the rest would. And we didn't want communism spreading throughout the world, is what our country has stated. And also, with the U.S. involvement, by 1962, we had 9,000 troops on the ground in Vietnam. Moving on to the protests, by November 1967, there was actually 500,000 Americans in Vietnam. So in 5 years, it went from 9,000 to 500,000. And that comes with over 15,000 Americans killed and over 104,000 wounded. So the soldiers began to mistrust the government's reasons for why they were there. And between July 1966 and December 1973, over 503,000 military personnel had deserted. And the anti-war movement, it spawned violent protests and even killings and mass incarceration in Vietnam and even in the United States. And then in October 1967, 35,000 demonstrators were outside the Pentagon protesting this war. Now, a couple small things that again I'll have links to so you can read about it more is that the mistrust in the government and of why they had them there. At this time in America, our government was telling our people that we were winning this war over and over again, and that's why the military personnel that was coming back and the ones that were deserting, they didn't understand why they were still there, and they mistrusted the government because they were saying they were winning, and we were not. We were not winning, and we did not win. So that's where the protest started, is with the military personnel and then with civilians, because they were getting lied to. And so it was a very turbulent time in our history, and it was a very turbulent war. And so now I want you to go watch that Tet Offensive video that I have the link to at the bottom of the comment section of this video. Again, it's one of the biggest military campaigns during the Vietnam War, and there'll be a little bitty quiz per se for bonus points, okay? All right, thanks, guys.